What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shan Tynes.
What's up?
And Daniel Acevedo.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on? So, thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry I had to clear my throat. Monday, Tuesday, our topics. Wednesday, discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. Like I keep saying in the previous episodes, I had a really good one with Lynn Dome from WESIS. She's the executive director over there. So definitely tune in for that conversation where we talk about her background experience, the beginning of WESIS, and how it is supporting women in cybersecurity for now and into the future. And then Friday's everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
Real quick, like when you said you had to clear your throat, the first thing came to my mind was I'm old. I'm so old. That's the first thing that came to my mind. But all right, everybody. So this article is from governing.com, written by Julie Pattison Gordon. And the title of this one is Fewer Than Half the States Meet Recommended Cybersecurity Goals, right? So what they highlight in the article is all but 2 states completed a review, right, to see whether or not they reach these goals, but only 22 of the states reached or surpassed the recommended minimum levels of security in their systems, right? So that's not a good percentage there, right? So like the levels they did a 1 through 7 scale, right? And it was only 22 of the states that reached at least a 5. So they're not even saying they're all the way to 7, which is the high point. They're saying they only got to 5, which they consider acceptable, right? Like you're meeting goals, you have a plan. They're saying the ones that didn't meet that really don't have any type of cybersecurity plan, or they're not meeting the goals of their cybersecurity plan. That's not a good thing, right? Especially when it comes to state government, right? Because we're seeing more and more that they're becoming a bigger target to the cybersecurity threat actors that are out there, right? So this is not a good thing, folks. Like you would hope your governments would be doing a better job, your state governments are doing a better job of keeping your information, especially everything that you give them and that they have that's essential to you, right? But they even talk about the local governments in this thing, and they average just above a 4 on the scale, right? So again, they're like right in the middle where they're just above a 4. So I guess if you look at like a Google review, it's a 4.1. I don't know what that is, But they're talking about county and city governments as well, right? So we're talking about your local school districts, talking about your local police, public utilities, right? That's a big one that's come up recently because, they're out here poisoning our water and whatnot. So even for all you folks who are like, I don't like water anyway. Well, when you're drinking your Mountain Dew or your Pepsi, it's got water in it too, right? So you're still at risk. But yeah, this is not a good thing, right? Like we want these states to conduct the cybersecurity activities and do formal processes and have processes in place to handle these different types of things. But we're just not seeing it out there. It's something they got to get a better hold on. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. It's just even if you're not paying attention to this podcast, which you should be, right? Other side of the firewall, we're here for you. We're giving you everything you need. It's becoming more and more prevalent. You'll see it on your local news, even where you'll see the different cybersecurity attacks that are happening. Like I'm seeing it just watching my local news here out in Colorado. You know what I mean? So they got to get a better handle on this. And the thing is, I don't know with the current administration or with the administration that's about to come in, the incoming administration, I don't know if this is one of those things where they're going to be like, hey, we're spending more money than we want to. And Doge is going to take a look at this and start not funding some of this stuff, determine its waste. You know what I mean? You're not getting any federal dollars for cybersecurity for these states. But we'll see. We don't know what the future holds. 2025, is what we got to look forward to. We'll see what happens. I envision it'll be a little more crazy than 2024, right? But we'll see. But Daniel, what's your thoughts on this?
Man, there's like a million things I want to say about this one. But, the lack of funding and personnel, for one thing, that's a story that's been ongoing in cybersecurity. It has a longer tail than there are Fast and the Furious movies. Like it's been out there forever that there's not enough money and personnel for cybersecurity in the government, right? And the problem with cybersecurity, just like in the private sector, it's not sexy, especially when you're talking about the compliance side, this is more geared towards the compliance. And when you're talking about funding in the government, this is, like you said, utilities, schools, and things like that. We're not even taking into account military, federal agencies, defense agencies, those kind of things, which also make up a whole slew of things, right? So this is a larger issue that I don't know what the government's going to do not only what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and when they're going to do it, because funding as it is kind of spread thin throughout the government as it is for a countless number of things already, let alone cybersecurity. So that's one aspect of this. Now, you take about security frameworks, how you apply that to local utilities and smaller government like agencies or entities out there. That's really rough. I was working for the military and transitioning them organizations, the Air Force and other institutes from the old DIACAP to the RMF. And it was a wild, wild west. No one knew what to do in those early days because there was no guidance. When you're talking about public school systems and things like that, like implementing a cybersecurity framework as an agenda has never been a thing for that organization. So unless there is a higher level of education, I don't mean like schooling, but like a push to help them implement those frameworks as a part of their institution, you're kind of doing them a disservice to begin with. So, I mean, there's more issues than just, hey, we need funding and personnel, right? Because you can bring people in, but if you're not establishing the culture, you're losing the battle, right? You're kind of like fixing a gunshot with a band-aid. It's not going to work in the long run. I guess the one silver lining, and I'll end with a positive note for once, for all my pessimism as always. In the article, in quotation, it says, in general, state, local, and tribal territorial participants showed strengths in identity management, access control, resisting access to facilities, and access to only authorized users or devices. So that is a good foundation, right? So if these entities are doing that, they have more than their foot in the door. But establishing the correct cultures, mindsets, and schemes within the organization, I think, is where we need to look at first, and then the funding and the other stuff alongside that. So what are your thoughts, Ryan?
And the stuff you mentioned is mostly physical security too. Like when you think about that, like that's
Yes.
easy, right? Hire a guard, give people some type of card to
get a
access
fence, some CCTV kind of thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I think you guys are spot on. I think what's the silver lining, right? You always try to find a silver lining. I think what's good about this separation, right? That this is a nationwide survey on the states and their municipalities. They have their own funding and they have their own ability to raise taxes and things of that nature because cybersecurity is cost center. Like it just is. Like cybersecurity is expensive.
With that guy, most of the times that you want to raise taxes for cybersecurity now.
No. I'm just saying. Like I think it's a good thing that there is a separation between the federal government and these states in this regard, because the last time the Trump administration was in charge, they were really good about cybersecurity and they carried forward the stuff that came from Obama and so on and so forth. And that's been carried through. So you've been seeing a big uptick in funding for cybersecurity and things of that nature. I'm uncertain of how the new administration will handle this because of the whole creating the Department of Government Efficiency and who's in charge of it, right? So I'm not trying to put my own personal biases. Like I think catching rockets with chopsticks and self-driving cars are cool. But what he has demonstrated to me when he acquired Twitter and made it private is that he cuts super deep and then he adds as necessary. Right? He doesn't necessarily take a business impact analysis and then start to work it. He's just like, shut off everything I deem to be non profit generating, right? Cost center would be cybersecurity, and then we'll add as necessary. So that's my fear, is that they cut very deep into those agencies that are in charge of cybersecurity. Maybe not. Like, I don't know. I don't. He might have said one thing, and when he comes in, he sings a totally different tune. But I'm glad that he's not in charge of the Fed and the states, right? The states can take care of themselves for the most part before they need federal assistance. So I'm not saying raise taxes. I'm just saying you already have pots of money in these municipalities, and you should shuffle some of it towards cyber where possible. But that's just my thinking.
So that's fine when it comes to a private business, right? Nobody is gonna die. Well, I would think most people wouldn't die if they don't have access to Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, right? But like this is different because there is a lot of information that could be put out there that could be dangerous to people. You know what I mean? Like if you're not doing cybersecurity when it comes to, you know, school systems, right? You got your children's
Yeah.
social security numbers getting put out there, things of that nature, right? Water treatment facilities, things that can happen there. Like again, like if he wants to make X less valuable, he paid 44 billion for it, and now it's only worth like 18. That's whatever, right? That's for you to deal with, and that's for investors to deal with, right? It's where they put their money. But I'd rather not have. I'd rather not have the game that's played with my local government and the things that it has access to. That's just
Right. But again, that's what I'm saying. He's potentially going to have nationwide impact, but at the federal level, so there is some cushion there. If he does decide to cut deep, the states can still do what they need to do potentially
I can almost
before.
guarantee some of these states are using federal money to do this. Like they're
Yeah,
Yeah.
not implementing this with their taxes. So if they decide
yeah,
we're not going to give, if that money is going to waste, we could use it elsewhere in giving tax cuts to the rich. You know what I mean? Like we did 8 years ago. Then that's going to be a problem, right? Let's rack up $2 trillion more dollars in debt. But go ahead.
or he doesn't come in as hot and heavy as we believe he's going to come in. Like I'm just speculating based upon his dealings at Twitter. I don't necessarily know if he did what he did at Twitter anywhere else, but from what I've read about the takeover and how, uh, how crazy it was when he came in. I mean, he cut everything. He was like, "We're not even going to pay for somebody to clean the toilets. Like, we're cutting everything and everyone we deem to not be essential." And there's over 400 and something departments within the federal government, right? A lot of them overlapping. So, how much damage can he do? But that's to be seen. But again, this is all speculation because we have to wait until January 26th. It's 26, right? 25th, 26th, 26th.
I think it's the
Um,
20th. I think it's the
it's the
20th.
20th.
Yeah.
Okay. To see how this starts to take effect. And then he only has 2 years, right? I think that's what they said. The Department of Government Efficiency only exists for 2 years, and then it'll go away. So we'll see how all this works. But my Dogecoin is up. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But definitely continue to tune in throughout the weeks. Monday, Tuesday, our topics, Wednesday discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. And then Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. Hit up all the websites that go by our name, The Other Side of the Firewall, The Other Side of the FW, and then hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me pretty much on all the platforms, but LinkedIn is where I do most of my communication. And then where can I find you, Daniel?
On LinkedIn under my name, Daniel Acevedo.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.